the Motivation Manifesto, purchasing that online, what was that, like 2015? Just that little action of putting in that order and thinking that book might do me some good. And I'd like to read that and ordering it, all I had to pay was shipping, $7 shipping or whatever it was. And, you know, that spurred me to write my book, which got this whole thing started. I wouldn't be here at the radio station if I hadn't ordered that book. It's like, wow.
That's so awesome. And it all starts with the mindset. I mean, if you're in the right mindset, it might not show in the material world right away, but if you have that right mindset and you're like trying to grow and you're like letting life flow, and things will start to work out for you eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like yeah, some days, well, this morning I woke up and I got my first dose of Moderna vaccine, COVID vaccine yesterday morning. Um, just I went to the mall, just to go to the Nike outlet to get, or Nike clearance store to get a new pair, see if I could get a new pair of shoes, which I ended up buying a new pair of shoes. But I walked a mile around the mall before the stores opened, and they open up the mall and you can walk around inside the mall for like an hour before the stores open. And while I was walking around, I noticed they had a vaccination site inside the mall at a store that's no longer there. And so I, got to thinking about it, and I'm like, well, hey, I still need to get one. Do I really want one? So I don't know. I'd been toying around with the idea, and of whether I should get one or not. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get one. So I yeah, after I bought my shoes, I went right over there and got my first dose, and no side effects. The injection site was sort of sore, and this morning I woke up and it was like, yeah, okay, this is sore than it was yesterday, and it's throbbing and everything, and still hurting right now like that. But oh well, we do what we got to do, right? Um, but I was laying there this morning and I'm like, oh man, this sucks. Maybe I should, break down, stop by the store and get some painkillers and, aspirin or Tylenol or ibuprofen or whatever. And, then I'm like, well, no, that's right. I quit taking those because my body had built up an immunity to them when I was taking MS treatment. And anyway, yeah, so I just opted not to and got up and started moving. And actually, the pain has subsided a bit, but it's mindset. If I wanted to stay in that mindset of no, this hurts, this sucks, it's like may not have even gotten out of bed, but I
Yeah.
mean, chances are. But it's like okay, I got to get up, get moving, so let's do it. And here I sit, and my arm's still hurting, but oh well, whatever. Life goes on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You just have to do the things like that you value, and like that pain can be there like all at once. And like it's just you're gonna do the things that like you value in life. And like if pain comes, you can like acknowledge it's there and just still do the things that you value, just like you are right now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, because well, it's like, uh, yeah, it's like pain. It's almost an absolute of life, right? But I mean, it's like at one point or another, you know, chances are you're going to be in pain in your life, and it's like, so I don't know, might as well deal with it. Back when I was on my first MS treatment, it's an interferon treatment, and dealing with the side effects of that are horrendous, or the side effects anyway are horrendous, flu-like symptoms, and body just feels like crap and hurting and everything, and it's like, the whole 6 years I was on that, I'm like, okay, do I stay on this treatment? MS specialist says it's, I should stay on it because I'm doing okay, so far as she's considered with my disease. But dealing with these side effects, just makes, oh man, this sucks bad. And so it's like, but anyway, you got to take the anti-inflammatories or whatever, some painkillers as pre-medication and post-medication before and after your shot. And at any rate, I got to the point where it was like it wasn't working, so I'd up it a little more. It wasn't working, so I'd up it a little more. And I was doing this, my MS specialist said, okay, maybe raise it a little more. Pretty soon I was taking like 2,000 or 2,400 milligrams of ibuprofen or whatever it was. And, whichever one I'd be taking at the time, I was taking that much. And I'm like, I got to the point after a few weeks of that high, I'm like, okay, wait, this is not healthy. And so, after a period of time, this is not going to be good at all. And, my kidneys or my liver or something's going to go. So this has got to go. So I just quit taking them and ended up switching treatments. And now I don't take any treatment. So whatever. And, headaches, arm aches, from injection sites, whatever, it's like, I just don't take anything.
That's awesome. And I mean, like, that's the fact that you had like that self-awareness to be okay, like we're gonna slow down on these and be like 2,400 is a lot, and let's just like try to wing off this. And like where you are now is like super impressive. It's super respectable to like hear your story and like see like where you came from and building your self-awareness and your like positivity and all that comes along with that to like where you are now, because it would have been super easy for you to kind of just like give up and be like, you know what, like I'm done, like I'm gonna sit here and just do nothing. But you're out running for 1,000 plus days and like all this amazing stuff, and you just chose to keep going instead of like giving up.
Well, yeah, it's, thank you. It's like giving up. Where does that get us? Nowhere, obviously, because we give up and just, sit there. And, yeah, it's like in my, in my 20s and I want to say, I don't know, late 20s, mid to late 20s or something like that. Maybe it was earlier than that. Maybe it was my early 20s. I don't know, something like that. I think of it, yeah, my early 20s. I gave up and, sort of gave up and, okay, well, this is it. This is life. This is what life's going to give me. This is what I'm going to get out of life. So, I just gave up and was sitting there at my apartment and, on no job, on antidepressants and fatigued and just gave up. And, my little life that I had was all there was going to be. Well, it's like, that's not all there was though. Or it seems like that's all there was,
Yeah.
because that's all I was willing to go after, was just sit there and take what it was, take what appeared life had given me. And, it's like, now I'm getting it. Now I'm going after it. Now I'm, making the effort instead of just giving up and not making any effort to do anything or go anywhere. And,
The amount of the amount of like possibilities and opportunities when you kind of like when you like open up your perspective and you stop like dwelling on things is enormous. And like you can do like whatever you want. It's just you being stuck in that mindset, because like I was in that same spot too where I was like, oh, like my life sucks and this is all I have, and then shifting my mindset to kind of see like a growth mindset, and like your perspective changes and then your entire outlook on life changes, and you see all these new like opportunities to grow and to start like different like businesses or to like improve your life that you didn't see before.
yeah. Yeah, it's like Well, yeah, it's like I gave up on myself. Well, and as a matter of fact, there was one point in my teens, my late teens, when at that point where I had the right about 10 months of being dry, 9 or 10 months of being dry, no booze or drugs. But, I still hadn't dealt with anything or anything like that. No, hadn't worked through anything, gotten to the root causes of, the alcoholism and drug addiction and all that, whatever was going on. But, or all that was going on. But anyway, um, yeah, it's like I got to the point where everything surfaced at once. I was at that point where, okay, this is too much, too much. I'm giving up. I'm gonna kill myself, commit suicide. I'm out of here, I'm not gonna deal with this. And just take away my problems and take away my family's problems and my friends' problems regarding me, no one will have to deal with me, not even me. And, it's like there was, during those 2 points in my life where I almost gave up, I was at the point of limited vision, limited possibilities, limited potential. And, it's like now that ever since I, you know, got into the 12-step support groups and used the 12 steps, worked those in my own life and became free of the alcohol and drugs as they were in my life. And about that same time and more so of recent years, started reading and following motivational and inspirational speakers. It's like they're talking about unlimited possibilities and unlimited potential. And it's like, you know what? That limited vision, limited potential, limited possibilities that I was about before, that was before. Now it's unlimited, so let's go for it.
What was the point in your life? Like, what gave you that hope to was there a moment, did someone say something to you? What was that turning point where you went from having no hope to wanting to kill yourself to being okay, life doesn't have to be this way? Was there one switch, or was it gradual?
It was, I'm leaning toward more gradual. I'm leaning toward more gradual, but there's certain points where it's I remember specific seconds or instances that, I had this awakening or spiritual awakening, if you will. That oh wow, that was wrong for me. This is the right way. And it's oh wow, it just changes my entire mindset. The first one being an hour after I was gonna kill myself, sitting in a doctor's appointment and telling my doctor what I just told my mom a little while prior, about wanting to kill myself, and just telling her, everything, whereas I had been so, sort of quiet and reserved about it all. Or I guess I had been quiet and reserved about it all, but I just let it all out and told her everything I had done, what I was, everything I had done and what I was about to do. And, she suggested I go to this 12-step meeting, and then I was sitting at a doctor's appointment that I had already set. I was sitting at a doctor's appointment a little while later, about half hour later and told him the same thing I told Mom.